Hello everyone, and welcome back to MoneyPulsar. When you go to an auction, you're probably focused on one thing. How much should I bid? You figure if you just stop at the right price, you've made a smart move. You're watching the bids. You're watching the other buyers. But what you're probably not watching is how the auction house itself is making money. That's exactly what we're breaking down today. We're not looking at this from the buyer's side or the seller's side. We're looking at it from the business side. Stick around until the end, because once you understand where the money is really going, the entire auction process will make so much more sense. Have you ever watched an auction? Either in a movie or for real? You see the fast-talking auctioneer, the paddles flying up, the tension building. Then, bang, the hammer falls. A painting sells for, say, $1 million. Everyone claps. It seems like the seller just got a huge payday, right? Well, that's only part of the story. That final hammer price is just the beginning of where the money starts flowing. You see, after the excitement of the final bid, there's another crucial step. The person who won the item doesn't just pay that $1 million. They have to pay something extra called the buyer's premium. This is a percentage of the final bid that goes directly to the auction house, not the seller. Think of it as the auction company's service fee. So, for that $1 million painting, if the buyer's premium is 25%, the buyer actually has to write a check for $1,250,000. That extra $250,000 goes straight into the pocket of the auction house. This happens for every single item sold, from a small piece of jewelry to a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. So while the buyer and seller are focused on the hammer price, the auction house is quietly taking its cut from every transaction. But wait, that's not the only way they make money. The person selling the item, known as the consignor, also pays a fee. This is called the seller's commission. It's also a percentage of the final hammer price. So, going back to our $1 million painting, the seller doesn't receive the full million. If their commission is 10%, they'll pay the auction house $100,000. So, let's do the math. On a single $1 million sale, the auction house just made $250,000 from the buyer and $100,000 from the seller. That's $350,000 in revenue for facilitating just one sale. It's a brilliant business model where they earn from both sides of the deal. The next time you see a record-breaking auction price, remember the real winner is often the house itself. Alright, so we've talked about the buyer's premium, but what about the people actually selling the stuff? It's a common myth that sellers just hand over their items and wait for a check. The reality is, sellers also pay to play. Let's break it down. To even get an item listed in an auction, sellers typically have to pay a fee. This isn't always a one-size-fits-all deal. Sometimes it's a flat fee, like a simple entry ticket for your item. Other times, it's a percentage of the final sale price, known as the seller's commission. So, the auction house gets a cut from both the buyer and the seller. Now, here is a twist that catches many sellers by surprise. What if the item does unsell? You might think, no sale, no fee, right? Not necessarily. Many auction houses still charge for their services, even if the hammer never falls on your lot. Why? Because a lot of work happens before your item ever sees the auction floor. Think about it. Before an item can be put up for bidding, it has to be professionally evaluated. An expert needs to examine it, determine exactly what it is, figure out its history or provenance, and write a compelling description for the catalog. They also have to establish a fair estimate that price range you see in the listings. This whole process of cataloging, authentication, and appraisal requires specialized knowledge and time. And that work isn't free. The auction house is a business, after all. They've built a reputation and a platform that attracts serious buyers, and preparing items for that platform is a core part of their service. So, they charge for that expertise. This means money is flowing into the auction house at every stage. Before the auction through listing and evaluation fees, during the auction from the buyer's premium, and after the auction from the seller's commission. Have you ever been to an auction and wondered how prices get so high, so fast? It's not about some grand scheme or trick from the auction house. The real magic happens between people in the heat of the moment. Let's break down the psychology behind why prices climb all on their own. Imagine this. You're at an auction, and you've spotted the perfect antique chair. You're not the only one, though. Someone else across the room wants it just as badly. When they place a bid, you feel this immediate pressure, right? It's not the auctioneer pushing you. It's the simple fact that someone else is competing for what you want. This creates a powerful dynamic. You're not just buying an item. You're trying to win. Now, let's talk about one of the most powerful tools in an auctioneer's arsenal. Silence. After a bid, the auctioneer pauses. The room goes quiet. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3. That silence can feel incredibly long and uncomfortable. It creates a tension that hangs in the air. What happens next? Often, someone places another bid just to break that tension, to get things moving again. It's a natural human reaction to an awkward social situation. This is the core of it all. Nobody is being forced or manipulated. People are simply reacting to the environment, the competition. Each person's decision is their own, but it's influenced by everyone else in the room. As bids go up, that feeling of wanting to win gets stronger. People start thinking, just one more bid. I'm so close. This is how an item's price can spiral upwards, far beyond its initial estimate. And of course, as the final sale price increases, so does the commission for the auction company. It's a system where the psychology of the crowd directly benefits the business without any heavy-handed tactics. They simply set the stage and let human nature do the rest. It is a fascinating look at how our own competitive instincts and reactions to social pressure can drive value. So, the next time you're at an auction or see one on TV, pay close attention to those quiet moments and the bidder's reactions. You'll see this subtle dance of psychology playing out right before your eyes. Ever wondered what happens after the final gavel falls at an auction? You might think the big money is only in that one spectacular, high-ticket item, but the real secret to a consistently profitable auction business isn't just about selling rare antiques or flashy cars. The magic often lies in what comes next. After a buyer wins an item, the journey is far from over. That precious painting needs to be carefully packed. The antique furniture needs to be shipped, sometimes across the country or even internationally. What about insurance for that delicate porcelain vase? Or maybe the buyer needs to store their new collection for a few weeks before they can pick it up. Each of these, services, packing, shipping, insurance, storage might seem like a small, almost insignificant charge on its own. A few dollars here, a few dollars there. But here's the key. Convenience and peace of mind are things people will gladly pay for. Most buyers will opt for these services directly through the auction house. It's just easier and safer than trying to arrange everything themselves. Now, multiply these small service fees by hundreds or even thousands of items sold in every single auction, and then multiply that by the number of auctions held throughout the year. Suddenly, those small charges aren't so small anymore. They combine to create a powerful, steady, and predictable stream of income. This is what makes the auction business so resilient. It doesn't have to rely on landing that $1 million sale to stay afloat. Instead, its financial stability is built on a foundation of repeated, reliable services that customers need and want. It's a brilliant business model where every transaction, big or small, contributes to the bottom line, ensuring a consistent cash flow that isn't dependent on luck or one-off blockbuster sales. This steady income from ancillary services is the unsung hero of the auction world, providing the stability needed to thrive long-term. So next time you're watching an auction, remember that the real action continues long after the bidding stops. Thanks for watching. And if you found this insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more business breakdowns.